Hello and welcome to The List Makers, episode 53, Top 5 Master Stories. This is, of course, a spin-off podcast from The Doctor Who Show, and I'm Dave.
I'm Rob, and thanks to Dylan Mooney for sending this one in, Dave.
Absolutely, thank you, Dylan. I know you've sent a few topics in. I can't remember if this is the first one we've pulled out of Tello's hat, but as always, fantastic to have a topic sent in by one of our listeners. If you would like to send one in, email us, private messages, just tweet us, whatever the case may be. They end up in Turlo's Hat of Rassilon, and at some point they will be pulled out.
Yes.
We are doing Top 5 Master Stories. It's my turn to go first, which is a shame because I'm still deciding my list.
No.
I mean, I've got my top 4 locked in, Rob.
Oh, okay.
And I've got a number 5, and there's the one that my heart says should be number 5, and the one my head says should be at number 5.
Oh.
And it's time for me to make a call. All right, I'm going with that one.
All right.
Rob, do you reckon this will be a snaptastic episode, or like our episode last month, one where we have 10 different stories?
I think we've got to have snaps, but I'm really not sure how many. I'd say at least 2, maybe 3.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I think and I'm going to mark it on my piece of paper. I think that one will be a snap for sure. Otherwise, I'm just not sure.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm going to make my list. And when I made my list, I made a very conscious decision to make top 5 stories for the Master, not my personal favourite stories that happen to have the Master. So that's an approach I've taken. We'll see if you've done the same thing or differently, Rob, and how it affects us.
Sure.
Oh, but I mean, we're nearly 2 minutes in. I should be making my list, goddammit.
Make your list, Dave.
Make my list. Number 5, I've gone with the Time Monster.
Okay.
Now, this is the one that my head said should be in there rather than my heart. And I think that it deserves to be in there because this is a story that shows the Master in many ways at his corruptible best. He is playing with big, epic cosmic forces. He's playing with danger in dealing with Kronos the Chronovore. His willingness to destroy the Doctor is actually quite genuine. He allows Kronos to eat him and send him into the void. This isn't a, I'll get you soon, Doctor. Just one moment, Doctor. This is, you know what? No, I'm sick of you. Here's Kronos going to eat you, throw into the vortex. You're finished. You're done, which is a rare moment from the Master. He's then, through nothing other than his own charm and force of personality, able to take over Atlantis. The scenes of him flirting with Queen Galea are just fantastic and again show that real wickedness of the Master that I think you can see in there. And then he's willing to allow the whole of Atlantis to be destroyed just for his experiment. I think that this is a really good portrayal of him, even if, I confess the story is not that great, although it does get better as it goes along in my view.
Sure.
Number 4, I am picking World Enough and Time, which is, of course, from the new series. It does, of course, have 2 Masters, or at least 2 iterations of the being known as the Master or Missy. Yes. And I think it is the best appearance of both of them. It is, in my view, John Sims' best appearance. It is also, in my view, Michelle Gomez's best performance as Missy. I've said many times on the podcast, Rob, as you know, that I like my characters to be a little bit dry, a little bit less OTT, and I think they both do this here. But again, the utter evil of both of those characters is on display, particularly John Sims' Master, the epic scale of what they do, and we also get to explore the dynamic between the Master / Missy and the Doctor, which, in a way that happens very rarely, certainly in the new series. So, look, it's an epic story. It often makes our lists of greats in many ways, but I think it's great for the Master as well.
Yeah.
Number 3, I've gone with Survival. My favourite story from the McCoy era, that is true, but I think a very good Master story because here you see a real distillation of the Master. You see what happens when he's trapped, powerless. He doesn't have his TARDIS. He doesn't have any technology. He's just got his own will, his own personality, and he uses that to survive. And we're not seeing here the Master with any plan to take over the world or do anything crazy. He just wants to survive. And that, I think, is a really, really wonderful idea. And there we see his viciousness. The number of people that he just casually kills, but not just casually kills, he enjoys killing, I think is really wonderful. There's a real vicious, nasty, sadistic streak on display here. Again, it's probably the most toned-down performance that Anthony Ainley gives at the Master, which I really love, and he works very well with McCoy Doctor. So a really strong performance from me there. Number 2, I'm going with The Sea Devils, another Roger Delgado story. And again, an example of how effective the Master can be. Here he is, trapped, imprisoned, locked up for life, yet he is still able, with cunning and guile and technological know-how, to corrupt other people, to escape, to take over the Sea Devils, and just, again, try to destroy the world for no other reason than he's a bit pissed off that the Doctor's thrown him in prison.
Yeah.
And I think that's just wonderful. And again, you get that really good personal dynamic between the Doctor and the Master. It starts when the Doctor visits him in prison. You then get the infamous sword fight. You then get the Doctor and the Master sort of vying for control of the Sea Devils. And then they end up almost sort of having a laugh in their prison cell in the Sea Devils base. It's a wonderful dynamic between them. But again, it shows the Master is really effective.
Yeah.
Now, Rob, if my criteria for top Master stories is showing the Master at his most evil, wicked, and particularly most effective, the number one story in my mind had to be Logopolis.
Wow.
Because in this one, the Master nearly destroys the universe.
Yep.
Then he nearly conquers the universe. Peoples of the universe, please attend carefully. And he kills the Doctor.
Yeah.
He takes the Doctor and he kills him and forces him to use regeneration. So the Master's actually, by his standard, having a pretty good day in terms of getting his evil plan underway. The Master wipes out a large portion of the universe. The Master kills the Doctor. The Master casually murders a bunch of other people along the way. And he's just, again, vicious, nasty and sadistic all the way through. So if my criteria was, let's show the Master at his best, Logopolis was my number one.
That's really interesting. And we only have one snap across all of these.
I reckon it's going to be this one.
Okay.
Let's see, Rob. Time for you to make your list.
Dave, in at number 5, I've got Planet of Fire. And we've discussed on the podcast, there are stories that fly under the radar. This is one of them. But I think it's packed with juicy Master goodness. It's also a big turning point for the Fifth Doctor era. We're saying goodbye to Turlough. We're saying hello to Perry. There's a ton of big budget-looking volcano backdrops courtesy of Lanzarote, which is something new for the Davo era, when you think of being stuck in a studio for stuff like Kinder and so on. So I will say here, I'll stop and say, on my list, I am going with stories that are good to me, as well as stories that are good for the Master. But I think in each of these, you'll see why the Master's good in them.
Yep.
In this one, the Master is very manipulative. He's cruel, and vitally, I think he's a little different to previous outings in the Davison era. That's the best way I can say it. He's different, and I like him in this. It's just very stylish, and again, it flies under the radar, so I think it's worthy of being in here at number 5. It's a good Master story.
Yeah, I will definitely have something to say about that one.
Okay. In at number 4, I'm totally cheating and rolling 3 stories together, Dave, but they are a trilogy, basically, which is Utopia, Sound of Drums, Last of the Time Lords. Utopia, because it gives us that glorious twist with Derek Jacobi doing the Master, who doesn't really know he's the Master. Yep. That's great. And then Sim takes over as the Master, and then it's just full throttle from there. It's like Sim's having the time of his life. We've got this Master who's like Prime Minister, but he's dancing to the Scissor Sisters, watching the world die. It's totally unhinged, but in the best possible way. And underneath all that chaos, I think there's something really sad and broken too, especially when we get to the ending, and the relationship between the Doctor and the Master is just so complicated. And really moving, and Tennant and Sim just spark beautifully off each other. This can't not be on a Master story list for me. In at number 3, I've got The Demons. I mean, this, as we've discussed in past episodes, it's an absolute banger if you like your Doctor Who with a dash of folk horror. The Master is in full-on cult leader mode here. He's posing as this country vicar. He's whipping the locals into a satanic frenzy. He's going to summon this ancient alien demon. It's like he saw The Devil Rides Out and thought, yes, please, I'll have a bit of that. It's daft. It's dramatic. It's deliciously atmospheric. Do you like those 3 D words, Dave? Daft, dramatic, deliciously atmospheric.
And
yes, indeed. The Master is just so watchable in this one, Dave. Roger Delgado, bloody great.
Yep.
In at number 2, I've got World Enough and Time and The Doctor Falls.
Yeah, that was the one I thought we'll definitely snap on.
Yeah, I mean, these 2 episodes are just bleak, as we say goodbye to Capaldi, because this is his swan song. Forget that bloody silly one that comes after this. This is his swan song. It's also the swan song for Missy. Michelle Gomez is sensational here. She's twisted. She's hilarious. She's so close to redemption, but doesn't really get there. Or does she? It's so far from where she started for many of us. Like, she came on, it was like, oh my God, it's like Mary Poppins on acid. Oh no. No, this isn't the Master. So to arrive here is great. Then you throw in John Sim. The two of them together is just electric, you know, watching them play off each other. They're flirting, they're bickering, they're killing each other, literally. It's pretty much everything a fan could want. And underneath it all, you've got the Mondasian Cybermen wandering around and Capaldi delivering one of his best performances. I mean, it's just brilliant, Dave. Why didn't I have this at number one? I don't know.
Yeah, so what is your number one? What is even more exciting than that, Rob?
In at number one, Dave, I've got The Deadly Assassin. Because it's the story that takes the Master from, you know, moustache-twirling Bond villain to something different. And of course, this is also the Master at his most grotesque, decaying. He's desperate, he's unhinged. You know, when he returns in Keeper of Traken, he's meant to look like this, but he's more like a kid's TV version of this. I still look at the Master and Deadly Assassin today and think, seriously, how did they get away with this? You know, just look at him. Those dead fish eyes, the whole look. And of course, as a story, it's the first big one that gives us this real deep dive into Gallifrey, Time Lord Society, all of that stuff. The Doctor's trapped in the Matrix. The Master's lurking around. It's creepy. It's ambitious. It's iconic. Maybe World Enough and Time should have been in this slot, Dave, but there's just something about Deadly Assassin where they do something so different with the Master, and it still shocks me to this day, that I've put it in at number one. That's my list.
That's a fantastic list, Rob. We've got 9 stories between us, and I think it's fair to say a pretty good balance across all the different incarnations of the Master, with the exception, I guess, of Sacha Dhawan.
Yeah, that's fair.
Which is really interesting. Look, the story that I was umming and ahhing about putting in at number 5, my heart wanted to go with Colony in Space, because I do love that story. I think, again, the Master's really effective. It sets up the whole thing about how he can steal files from the Time Lords, and he's going for the Doomsday Weapon. And I like that moment where you can sort of see the Master realising the Doctor's never going to be his friend.
Yeah.
So it's important to me. But I do think that, you know, I compare that to the seduction of Queen Galea in The Time Monster, and I had to go with the Time Monster.
Did you feel you were going heavy on Delgado too?
Well, it was, yeah,
if you included that as well?
Yeah, if I'd added it as well, that would have been a bit too many Delgados, because I think I did want to share it around, because they are very worthy. And indeed, I had the Deadly Assassin as a runner-up as well. And again, my logic was he almost destroys Gallifrey, but he does get what he wants, which is another or a continuation of his existence. So that's pretty good. And he's a bastard in that one. That is true. Keeper of Traken, I think, again, it's not quite as big and epic as some of the other ones, but the manipulation of Cassia is really effective, so that's good, and that would obviously give us the Geoffrey Beevers Master as well. Interestingly, Robin, neither of us picked Terror of the Autons.
No. I mean, I wanted to get a Delgado in there, and the Demons is just such a favourite story of mine, and I think he's just doing such an interesting thing, being the local vicar.
Yeah,
I just love it.
Yeah, look, it is iconic. This is another example of, had I had a few more slots, the Demons would absolutely have been in there. In the end, I went with the Sea Devils, and I think perhaps because of that criteria that each of us was applying a bit differently. But I think, yeah, look, they're both excellent Delgado stories. I mean, most Delgado stories are pretty epic.
You mentioned Peter Pratt. What do you think of my line that he's like the kids' TV version of the Deadly Assassin Master?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Just to look at him, it's like, oh, it's really toned down here.
Yeah, no, I think that's very fair. You had the Planet of Fire on your list, Rob.
Yeah.
Now, it's only 2 months ago that I had this at number 1 on my list of top Davo stories, and when I compiled my list, I started with Survival and Planet of Fire. Mm-hmm. And then as I've thought, well, actually, no, I have to have the Sea Devils. Oh, no, I have to have World Enough in Time. And, oh, well, hang on, Legopolis. And I just kept going, well, hang on, this has to drift down. And as much as I think Planet of Fire is a fantastic story, and yes, the Master is good, the Master's not in a lot of it. Chameleon is. Mm. And so maybe I was being a little bit technical there, although perhaps when I think about it, the Master, even when reduced to 6 inches tall, is still quite effective, although the scenes being run around the TARDIS console with Perry trying to swat him with a shoe maybe don't quite work. But yeah, no, look, it's a great story, and I definitely rate it.
Well, one of my notes there was he's different to previous outings in the Davison era. He's not the Master of King's Demons. No,
there is something a bit more distilled and wicked about him in that one. And also, there's something very arrogant about him there as well. I mean, I really love the cliffhanger to episode 3 of Planet of Fire, where even though the Master is reduced to 6 inches tall, when Perry discovers him, which is a great moment, if you don't know what's coming, and you don't know that the Master's been reduced and that's his control box, like, you don't know what's coming, that's a big, like, oh, wow, what's going on, cliffhanger. But the fact that, this tiny little Master, you escaped from my slave, but you'll obey me or die. Like, who are you threatening? But he's still just got that, you got away from Chameleon, but at 6 inches tall, I'm still going to stuff you. So maybe I'm talking myself into Planet of Fire going on my list. I don't know.
The end, Davo watches him burn to death pretty dispassionately. I mean, it's a good story. I like it.
Yeah. Look, speaking of good stories, I love Utopia. If Derek Jacobi had been playing the Master for more than about 4 minutes, this would absolutely be on my list. But you've been clever there by adding in the rest of that trilogy, which I respect.
Yeah, and it is a trilogy to my mind.
No, I think that is absolutely one single story. But as much as I agree with you on Utopia, as you were listing all the bonkers banana things that John Sims' Master does in Last of the Time Lords, I'm thinking, Rob's listing all the reasons I didn't put it on my list.
I don't know what it is, Dave. I wonder if a Master did that in a modern, when I say modern, I mean like an episode that came out this year or something. Say that happened. Whether I would have liked it the same, or whether it just hit at the right time. What was that, 2007, I want to say? Whether it was just that era in TV, or maybe the age I was at the time, or something, but it's solidified in my mind as this is really fun and cool, and even when I see it now, it's fun and cool, but if it was in a new episode, would I feel the same way? I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, I can say for me, I would judge it now, and I did judge it then. I think it just was a little bit more bonkers for me when I compare it to the suave, sophisticated Delgado. Mm-hmm. And as I say, look, I've picked the only stories like Logopolis and Survival where I think he is at his most restrained. This isn't Mark of the Rani. So, yeah, that's what I'm going for. But yeah, this is another really good example, Rob, of where we have approached these lists very differently, but I think both come out with really respectable and different outcomes. But let's face it, the Master's a great villain.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, this was a lot of fun to do, this one.
It was. I really enjoyed this. Look, I could have picked 10 stories without even blinking. This is a really good one. Thank you to Dylan Mooney for sending it in.
Yes.
But it's time now to reach into Turlo's Hat of Rassilon. And for our next episode, Rob, we have one from listener Zach Forrest, and it is Top 5 Wilderness Years Projects, brackets, non-literature.
Oh, I remember this one coming in from Zach. Yep.
Yes, I think Zach knows that if he'd allowed literature, I would have gone with a lot of Virgin books, which I've talked about enough.
That's probably why he did this.
Yeah, which I totally respect. I think that's going to force me to go in a slightly different direction. So I'm looking forward to that, because that's going to be interesting. Top 5 Wilderness Years projects. We lived through them, Rob.
Yes, we did.
It was my era of fandom, but we have definitely gone to time. So until then, I have been Dave.
I have been Rob.
And we will make some more lists next month.
Bye.
Goodbye.